Wyatt showed up on campus with the biggest smile and grin on his mouth, and he came up to me, and I already knew what was going to come out of his mouth. He was going to tell me, your lines didn't make it, but that's okay. Either did the Vikings, so really, who's the one smiling right now? Tonight's question of the week is... Are you guys ready? No. Eli, you also won a few weeks ago. You haven't? Yeah, you did. Yes, you did, about the pasta. He's like, yes, I did actually win it. Okay. The question of the week tonight is, what is the amount of the gift card you'll win if you're the first 5 people at Chick-fil-A? I'm going to give it to Kate if you get it. $20. Are you sure on that answer? Positive? It is $20. Okay, Kate, you got it. Really, my questions are just to make sure you guys are paying attention to announcements, and like most of you were. Kate, find me after service. That was amazing. I know, but yet 5 people were up here running because you guys paid attention to announcements. Well done, well done. Okay, we're going to get to the game. For this game, you need to find a buddy. So everyone needs to be in groups of 2, spread out in the sanctuary, groups of 2, spread out in the sanctuary. If you need a partner or a buddy, a youth leader can help you out. So everyone stand up, find a buddy, and find your own space in the sanctuary. You're going to want to be standing up. You're actually going to need to be standing up. So everyone stand up, find a buddy, and go somewhere in this auditorium. Wyatt needs a buddy. Hunter, do you want to be Wyatt's buddy? Perfect. Who else? You need one? Peter, your buddy right there. Johnny, who's your buddy? You guys are buddies? Okay, you need a buddy? It literally won't work with 3 though. So one of you can be Chase, or Nick's here. Nick can be someone's buddy up here. Okay. Nick's here. Luke and Nick, perfect. Okay, girls, you need a buddy? One more. Sarah, will you be one of these ladies' buddies? I'm not sure which one. Okay, this game is so simple. In fact, it's so simple that if I have to explain it more than once, something's wrong. We are going to play Rock, Paper, Scissors tournament. The final winner is going to play in the championship round. So if you're the final winner out of this first round, just know you're going to have a chance to win something else. So, does everyone know how to play Rock, Paper, Scissors? Yes. Are we doing Rock, Paper, Scissors, and then shoot? Yes? Okay, so it's Rock, Paper, Scissors, shoot. You're going to do the move you have, okay? Are you guys ready? It's best out of 3. Best out of 3. On your mark, get set, do it with your buddy. If you are out, you can just sit down. If you are out, you can just sit down. If you won, come find a new buddy. If you won, find a new buddy. Okay, you guys can be buddies. Emmett and Tendo, did you win? He didn't, okay. Emmett and Hunter? Emmett and Hunter, maybe? You guys both? Oh, you were in different groups. And now you both won. It's hard when you have to go against a good friend. You can go ahead and start your second round if you haven't. And you're already done. Wes is making it to the top. Okay, go ahead and find a new buddy. We need to go until there's one person left. Okay, hold on. Aiden, how many times have you done it? Okay, this is their third too. Okay, stay here, Wes. Don't. Okay. You 3 are. You guys have all done it 3 times? Like 3 rounds? 2, 3, 3. How many rounds have you done? 3. Okay, he's only done it twice. Okay. Do we do guys versus girls or come on? Just kidding. There's only. Sorry, I thought there was 2 girls. I'm sorry. Okay, let's have Callie and Wes and Jaden and Luke Lamb. You guys can go ahead and do it. Go for it. No pressure. So close. Okay, we have Luke and Callie. Callie, your friends are cheering you on. Any words?
No.
No words. Okay. Luke's got a whole front row who's just like, come on, buddy. Come on. Okay. Luke. Okay. Luke and Callie. You guys are going to do this. Go ahead when you're ready. Do we need to redo that? What? Okay. Okay, so one more time. One more time. No, just one more. The winner takes all. You have to go at the same time though. Y'all are like offbeat, okay? Okay. Okay. Callie won. Okay. Everyone needs to find a new partner, someone you have not been with yet. A new buddy. Everyone stand up and find a new buddy. Callie, you're going to play in the championship round, but you can still find another buddy. Boys, find another buddy. Do not start until we say go. Do not start until we say go. Don't start yet. Don't start yet. Don't start yet. Yes. Best of 3, by the way, when we start. Okay. Anybody need a Jaden? You can go over there by Pete if you want, or Ryan, do you need a buddy? Oh, no, you already have a buddy. Are you guys already, wait, did you already go once? Okay. Well, you get a, okay. Find a new buddy. Find a new buddy. Jaden, Evelyn's behind you. Jaden, Evelyn's right there. You guys can go ahead. Second time right now. Do not go on to the third round yet. If you won your second round, find a new buddy, but don't start yet. Okay, we're moving along. Okay, Eli and Ryan. Emmett is up here. Okay, you're gonna play against whatever girl wins. Okay, are they, how many times have they gone? Zoe, okay, you're gonna play against Emmett. The winner plays against Ryan. Zoe! Ryan! Okay, go ahead. Zoe! Okay, Callie Tanner. Callie, come back up here. We have girl versus girl. Winner gets the snacks after our small groups are dismissed. Okay. No hard feelings. You guys got this. Nice job, Zoe. Give it up for Zoe, guys. Way to go. I'll get you your prize after service. Well done, well done. Raise your hand if you're a very competitive person and it hurts to lose. Yes. Guys, that's me all the way. It's pretty bad, actually. And then you marry a competitive person, and then it's just always rivalry in the house. Okay, well, welcome to youth. We're going to get into the message, and then y'all know the drill around here. We're going to do small groups, which, hey, we have some new friends who have been helping in small groups. Hunter and Sarah, can you guys wave in the back? Give it up for Hunter and Sarah. And sadly, I have to announce that tonight, Amazon, this is her last Wednesday, at least for a while. She has a new job that she's going to be working at. So, Amazon, we love you. And we'll still see you on Sundays, so we're not going to be sad about it. But we'll still see you. And can you guys show some love to Amazon for all of the dedication she's given to our students? Yes. So tonight we're going to conclude our series, and it's going to be fun because we're actually going to turn the table on the conversation that we've been having. So we talked about God doesn't cap. When he makes us a promise, he always follows through on it. We talked about how God's promises are always fulfilled at the exact time that he always planned. He's never late, he's never early. And sometimes we have to wait because we think like God isn't doing it soon enough. Like he's not fulfilling the thing he said he would, but he always is on time. And then last week we learned really one main point. Does anybody remember what it was? Does anybody remember? It's that you have to be specific with God. When you really want to, when you believe that God's going to fulfill something, he's going to do something in your life, it kind of starts back with prayer and us talking to God and us asking him for very specific things. And sometimes we can be disappointed when God doesn't do something, but then we also have to remember, were we even praying that we wanted that thing in the first place? Like, it's just important that we really pray specifically and we say, hey, God, I want this one thing. And again, he's a great God. He's gracious, and he gives us the desires of our heart, but he also knows what's good for us and maybe what isn't great for us. Now, tonight we're going to talk about something different, but still going around the conversation of following through on our word and keeping our promises. It's really this. Let's focus tonight on our responsibility to follow through on our word. Let's talk about our responsibility. Everyone say my responsibility to follow through on my word. So if you guys have your Bibles, you can turn to 1 Samuel 1. This is actually a Bible story that you guys might have already read in your small groups, or maybe you're going to read it tonight. But we're actually going to talk about it because it is a perfect example of someone in the Bible following through on her word. She said she was going to do something, and she did it. So 1 Samuel 1, I'm just going to paraphrase the story, and I'll read a few verses here and there. So in 1 Samuel 1, there is this lady named Hannah. Anyone know a Hannah in real life? Yeah, anyone related to Hannah? I don't actually think I'm related to one. A Hannah? Like the name Hannah? No? Okay, so Hannah was married to this man, and this man also had another wife. And Hannah loved her husband loved her. But unfortunately, something that was really sad is that Hannah was unable to have children. And if you remember from a few weeks ago, having children in Old Testament times, it was one of the greatest honors you could have. It meant so much because it meant that you could carry on the name for your family or your tribe. It was so important. And so Hannah was unable to have children, and the other wife was able to have children. And so year after year, this other wife would irritate and provoke Hannah. She would make fun of her. She would tell her, oh, you can't have kids, but I can. Look at me. I can carry on our husband's name and all these things. And so it finally got to the point where Hannah was so sad, so distraught. She was in misery that her face just showed it. Like, anyone ever see someone who's really sad and you're like, dude, what's up? Like something's wrong. And so Hannah was so sad. She had kind of gone to a point where she couldn't take it anymore. She was filled with grief because she couldn't have kids. And so I'm really paraphrasing the story. Again, if you want to follow along in 1 Samuel 1, you can. But one day, Hannah was at the Lord's house, and she was praying. And she had really gotten to a point where she could no longer take the pain of not being able to have a child. And so in her grief and in her distraught, she prays to God, and she tells God something. She tells him, if only you will look on me and my misery, and if only you will remember me and not forget me, will you give me a son? And if you give me a son, I will give him to the Lord. So if you give me what I really want, I will give him back to you for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head. That's in 1 Samuel 1, verse 10 through 11. So as she's praying, this man named Eli, who was a priest, he could see her praying. Like, he could see her talking and crying and looking like she was in misery, but he couldn't hear her words, so he actually thought she was drunk. And so finally he goes up to her and he's like, are you drunk? Like, this is the Lord's house. What are you doing? And she said, no, I'm praying to God out of my grief and out of my misery. And do you know what Eli says to her? He tells her this. Go in peace, in verse 17, go in peace, Hannah, and may God grant you what you have asked him for. So Hannah was very specific with God. She wanted a son. She wanted God to give her that one thing. And as soon as Eli realized that she was praying, and as soon as he realized what she wanted, he said, "May you go in peace. May you be granted the very thing you have prayed to God for." And you guys, guess what happens? After some time, Hannah and her husband, they go back home, and y'all know how babies are made, so that happened. And God saw Hannah, and he remembered her, and he gave her a son. And does anybody know what his name was? Yes, Samuel. Sam in the front row, he's like, "It's my name right here." Sam, is your real name Samuel? Like your full name Samuel? Okay, so God gave Hannah Samuel. And this is what she said. She said, "Because I prayed for this child and God gave it to me, I'm going to name him Samuel." So here's what happens, you guys. She desired a specific thing, which is her son. She got pregnant with a boy, with her son. She gives birth to her son. And then Hannah follows through on the promise she had made God. And what does she do? She goes back to the very place she had prayed for her son, where Eli was. And in verse 26, this is what she says. She says, "Pardon me, my Lord. As surely as you live, I am the woman who stood here beside you praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I asked of him." And in verse 28, "So now I, Hannah, I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he will be given over to the Lord," and he worshiped the Lord there. You guys, Hannah made a promise to God, something she wanted so badly. She finally received it. And instead of keeping Samuel for herself, instead of keeping the very boy that she loved and she wanted for so long, she kept her promise to God and she gave him back to him. So I want you guys, if you're taking notes, I want you to write down this first main point tonight, and that is we need to follow through on our word. Follow through on your word. So here's the truth about following through on your word. Raise your hand if you're in 7th grade. Okay, from the youngest, raise your hand if you're the oldest person in these chairs. Probably Chase. Okay, from the youngest all the way to the oldest person in here. Here's what following through on your word does. When you follow through on your word, it makes your words, it makes them matter. They carry significance when you follow through on your word. And when you don't, your words start to really not matter that much, because if Eli said he was going to do something and then he doesn't do it and it kind of becomes a pattern, then we're like, "Oh, Eli's not going to do it. Eli, I'm just picking on you because you're wearing a Vikings hat right now." That's all. You guys, I have a story for you about a time that someone didn't follow through on their word. So raise your hand if you love Christmas. Love Christmas. So fun. The festivities, family, all the things. I come from a pretty big family. I'm number 7 of 8. And so every year in December, we get together for our family gathering. It's normally not on Christmas Day, but it's around Christmas week. And so this year we got together, and most of my siblings were there. Then some of my siblings are married, so their spouses are there. And then some of my siblings made babies, so then there's a bunch of kids there. And then my parents are there. And it's just like this huge family gathering. And we're not in a big house. We're literally in my brother's house, and it's not that big. Like, it's kind of small. Have you ever been to a house where there's a lot of walls? Like, there's just not an open space. There's just walls everywhere, okay? That is literally their house, okay? It's a great house. Love it. But we're all trying to cramp and be in there. And so we get together, and it's fun because we don't really see each other all the time, and my sister from Florida is there, and it's going to be amazing. But what has been tradition in my family when we get together for Christmas is we make what we call big pancakes. And here's the thing, they're not pancakes that are big. They're more like a crepe that you put butter on. You like lather it in butter, and then you put powdered sugar on it, and then you roll it up. It's made out of eggs and flour and sugar and milk and butter. And they are so good. But we only ever have them when we get together for this family gathering for Christmas. It's tradition, and it's the only time we have them throughout the entire year. So before we got together, there's this big group chat. Anybody like big group chats? No. Okay. Y'all, here's the thing about group chats. The more people that are in it, the less likely they are to respond. I promise you, like, that's facts, because no one responds when I send a huge group chat. And I don't know. I don't like them. But anyways, so there's this big family group chat. And in the group chat, before we get together for Christmas, everyone is assigned a certain ingredient to bring so that we can make these big pancakes. Everybody is assigned what they're supposed to bring. I signed up for the milk. Some people signed up for eggs and butter and powdered sugar and flour, and then one sibling signed up to bring the sugar. And if you know anything about sweet pancakes or crepes, you need some sugar. So we get to my brother's house, and we're all excited to be there, and my siblings start making the pancakes, which here's a pro tip. If you never know how to make something, you'll never be asked to make it. So I don't know how to make the big pancakes. I'm just sitting around like, yeah, you guys got it. Go you, okay? So they're making it, and then we begin to start to put some pieces together. One of my siblings has not showed up yet. And we're supposed to be there at 11, y'all. And it's like getting close to 1 o'clock and everybody is hungry. He hasn't shown up yet. He said he would bring the sugar. We don't have any sugar. And we're trying to make big pancakes. And let me remind you, there are a bunch of children. And how many of you know children get impatient when there's no food and they're hungry? Okay? It's like, no, we don't want to be there. He doesn't show up. He doesn't show up. He doesn't show up. He doesn't show up. And he said, I will bring the sugar. We will be there at 11. And it's getting close to 1 o'clock. And he's not there. And there is no sugar. You guys, that's the last time. That's the last time ever we're going to designate him to bring something for the family meal. Next time, we'll just be like, yeah, bring some napkins. Okay, because that's later on, right? Finally, not at 11, finally, he shows up. And he has sugar, which everyone's like, yay, like they're so super happy to see him and they're excited. The point being, I didn't really have that great of a day because I was hungry and these pancakes were not making themselves because we didn't have all the ingredients to make them. And my brother, I love him dearly, but he didn't follow through on his word that he would be there at a certain time with the sugar. And what's kind of interesting is that all of us sometimes, well, all of us will experience this at some point, maybe this week, maybe next week, maybe tonight when you go home, but all of us, we say we're going to do something, and then it's our responsibility to follow through on our word. Because when we are faithful to follow through on what we say we're going to do, it reflects a God who has been faithful to us. Our words matter. They carry weight. They're important when we can continually follow through on what we say we're going to do. Maybe some of you have felt this at the beginning of the year. You have like quote unquote goals, things you want to accomplish. And then you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then come January 31st, like today, you basically done none of it. And it's like, man, I said I was going to do it, but I didn't follow through on my word. And now, well, congratulations. Tomorrow's February 1st. You can start over again. But it's this idea that our words matter when we can follow through on what we say we're going to do. Another thing you can write down tonight as we get ready for small groups is that following through on our word, it builds trust. Following through on our word builds trust. How many of you have siblings that are younger than you? A few of you guys. Okay. Some of you have older ones too. How many of you have ever, like your sibling, they did something they shouldn't do, and then you also did something you shouldn't do. Your sibling found out about it. You found out about what your sibling did. And instead of you guys ratting each other out to mom or dad, you tell each other, hey, if you don't tell mom that I did this, I won't tell dad that you did that. Anybody ever do that before with your siblings? Like, you're kind of like, hey, don't do that. Don't say that and I won't get you in trouble. My brother and I did that all the time growing up. Well, maybe not all the time. I was a pretty great kid. But once in a great while, he would do something, I'd find out about it. I'd do something, he'd find out about it. And we'd be like, hey, I got your back. Don't tell mom or dad. I won't tell them that, Until one time I didn't tell my parents he was vaping, and then I got in trouble when they found out I knew, but I didn't tell them. Hot mess. It's fine. But all that to say, when we follow through on our word, it builds trust with other people. How many of you have been in a relationship or you want to be in a relationship one day? Like boyfriend, girlfriend, lovey-dovey. Okay, some of you guys, yes. Those who are married, I hope you would say yes, that you are. But you guys, do you know how important trust is for a healthy relationship? It is so important. Let me tell you what. If your boo-boo says, hey, I really won't text any more girls, like you're my only one, I won't text any more girls, and then you find out that he was texting other girls, what does that break? It breaks trust. Also, my advice, run, honey, you don't need him. But all I'm saying is our words, they're so important because when we follow through on our word, it builds trust. How many of you have ever, your trust has been broken with somebody that you loved? They didn't follow through on your word. They did something that was bad. Okay, we all have been there. It's not a great feeling. But when we can follow through on our words, it builds trust. How many of you have told your parents you're going to You're going to unload the dishwasher, you're going to fold the laundry, or you're going to clean your room, and then you didn't do it when they asked you to do it. Okay, a few of you guys. I probably never did that, but my brother did that all the time. I'd be like, brother, you got to do the dishes like you said you were going to do. But following through on a word, it builds trust, and it's super important. Okay, final thing. Following through on your word, you guys, this is my favorite. Following through on your word, it looks good on you. Y'all, I've never seen someone who's ugly who follows through on their word. When you follow through on your word, it looks super good on you. Like, y'all look so good when you follow through on your word. Here's the reality. I would love, when those who are in 7th grade, when you guys graduate, I would love people around you to be like, dude, those 7th graders who have now graduated EPEG Youth, they keep their word. I can trust them. They are dependable. They show up on time. The time that they said they were going to be at church, they showed up. They have healthy relationships because they don't overcommit to something that they know they're not ready for. They are valuable, and they're someone that I can schedule to be on the worship team, or I can schedule them to be an EPEG Kids serving on a Sunday, or I can schedule them to help set up 9 Square before youth. And every time I do, they show up because they follow through on their word. When you follow through on your word, it looks so good on you. And I can tell you this for us adults, or even if you're an older teenager in the room, when you have a job and you're scheduled and you show up, it looks good on you, okay? Anyone have coworkers at your job, like they just don't show up when they're supposed to? Some of you guys know what I'm talking about, right? It don't look good on them, and they probably about to get fired. But when you show up and when you follow through on your word, it looks so good on you. And I just hope that as you reflect maybe in your small groups tonight about a God who is faithful, a God who keeps his promises, a God who follows through on his word, a God who doesn't cap, I hope that you are inspired to reflect that God and that you can be faithful in following through on your word because you have a God who is faithful to you and who follows through on his word to you. So if you guys want to stand up, I'm going to pray for you. And I'm going to pray that we, all of us in this room, including myself, that we have the self-discipline to follow through on our word, even when it's hard, even when we don't feel like it. Funny story, some of my friends from EPEG, some of us women, we've been wanting to have like this girls' night out. Ellie and Amazon know what I'm talking about. We've been wanting to have this girls' night out. And you guys, we've scheduled it like 3 times, and every time it's about to happen, about the day it's like supposed to happen, we literally all dip out on it. We're like, nah, not tonight. Nah, I'm busy. Nah, something else came up. Yo, you guys, this Friday, we're doing it. We said we're going to go out and have some dinner together. We're going to follow through on our word because Ellie, Amazon, and I, we're no longer going to say we're going to do something, and then we're not going to do it. We're going to follow through on our word. So this Friday, if you are in Chaska and you see us just driving around, we're following through on our word. That's what we're doing. Okay, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray that God gives you the self-discipline to continue to follow through on your word. You can close your eyes and bow your heads. God, thanks for these students. Thanks for everyone from the front row to the back. I pray that you would give them the self-discipline to follow through on their word. When they say they're going to do something, God, I pray that they would be able to follow through. Thank you that it builds trust in others when we do that. Thank you that we can trust you because you do that for us. Thank you that it looks good on us, God. And Lord, ultimately, I pray that we look more like you each and every day when we learn to be more like you. We love you and we thank you for this time together. In your name I pray. Amen. You guys can get into your small groups. Oh, Amazon.